everybody? It's me, Johnny. And with me, I've got DJD and Farmer.
Special guest star Farmer.
I made it. Glad to be here, guys. Don't always get asked to be back, but when I do, I got to jump on it.
And sitting there back in the booth, we've got our sure and steady Craig. What's up, Craig? Really quick, I want to address, so we did not have an episode last week. Honestly, it worked out great for me to not have an episode last week. We were having my son's birthday party, and it was one of those things that it just made my day a little bit easier to not have to record. But in doing so, we missed our pre-May the 4th episode. You guys do anything special for May the 4th?
We watched, last night I was like, okay, it's May the 4th. We got to do something Star Wars. So we watched A New Hope last night. And I don't know if my two youngest have really watched it. So it's kind of like their first. So
I did my May the 4th activity on April 30th, actually, where I went to go see Revenge of the Sith in theaters.
Wait a minute.
Theater?
Because Regal was doing a whole for the whole month of April to celebrate the 20th anniversary, I think, of Revenge of the Sith. They were doing a theater run.
20, no way. Hey, don't tell me that. 20 years.
I just saw that it's been 10 years since Age of Ultron, and that hurt.
I
was like,
yeah, that's
oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no.
That's Age of Ultron. That's not even the original.
There's this I guess it doesn't matter what it's about, but I saw some YouTube videos that had that were posted 7 or 8 years ago. I'm like, man, these are really old. It's crazy that the show was the show that they're talking about was on the air 7 or 8, and then I realized, oh wait, no, that's just 2018. It's just
no. So here's the thing that I wanted to say earlier when I said I have a rant I want to go on. I am tired of these weird fake holidays. People are like, oh my gosh, guess what? Today's International Siblings Day. It's International Donut Day. Oh my gosh, it's Mario Day. It's March 10th. It's Mario Day.
It's plant a tree day.
It's International this day. It's when did this happen? Every day is
it's
something
every
now.
day is something. It's
and it's super annoying.
International Donut Day. Go eat a donut.
This is the thing that bothers me even more. The first recorded reference of the phrase May the 4th was used May 3rd, 1979. So apparently it was a big thing. And check this out. It was used in the UK general election to where Margaret Thatcher was elected as Prime Minister. To express the support before the votes were counted, her political party, the Conservatives, purchased a half-page advertisement reading, "Dear Maggie, may the 4th be with you."
Wow.
Because the election was the next day on May 4th. But apparently people have
sort of that origin story. But I mean,
I like the origin story, but because I was going to say, I feel like I very clearly remember when May the 4th became a thing.
Sure.
And maybe that's just mainstream. Do you guys, would you agree? Do you remember? I feel like I remember it. All of a sudden, May the 4th was Star Wars Day. Instead of the day before Cinco de Mayo.
I don't know. Yeah, I felt like it was a marketing thing or something. I don't know.
Well, that's the problem. That's what I feel like it always is.
It
always is a marketing thing.
Kind of gone up and come back around, and I don't know. I'm sure it had its moment, but it definitely I think once the internet really got a hold of it, started getting a lot bigger, a lot more attention.
Oh yeah. Well, Mario Day, March 10th, right? So it's MAR 10. It looks like Mario. I feel which Nintendo loves that. Oh, it's Mario Day, and it's a whole marketing thing now. That definitely became much bigger in the last 5 years. I feel like
I love that so much, especially when they say it's Mario Day. There's discounts, and you're like, what? Save $5?
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Not,
With them.
not
Yeah.
big discounts at all.
Yeah. And so anyway, as much as I love Star Wars, I got a Star Wars tattoo. As much as I love May the 4th, it is a little bit annoying. Like all of the guess what? It's Star Wars Day now. It's Star Wars Day. It's just really weird. I mean, to the point that the White House did
gosh,
a May the 4th post.
Oh my gosh, no.
I
told you I wanted to talk about politics.
It's trending for everybody.
I had no idea this was coming, but oh my gosh.
This isn't actually the political thing I wanted to talk about. But that's oversaturated, right? That at that point where I'm like, May the 4th is over. It's done. We can't talk about it anymore, guys. It's over. And I say that because for people listening, you guys know I make chill beats, right? Make lo-fi adjacent beats. If you go to the White House YouTube channel right now, there's a 24-hour MAGA live stream, chill beats to study to. I'm not even joking. I'm in this music making Discord and I posted, I'm like, guys, it's over. Lo-fi's done. It's called Lo-fi MAGA video to relax / study to. And it has the American flag.
I hate that one so much.
It's ridiculous, dude. What is going on? Why is the White House why do we have this live stream? Why is the White House posting on May the 4th? It's not even a real holiday. What is going on right now? I don't know. Maybe it's just me.
Yeah. No,
okay. I thought you were going to bring up the specific post by the White House, which was really upsetting to me.
I'm not bringing that up. I'm not bringing that. Well, could you imagine next year
by someone who doesn't
March
know
10th?
Star Wars? I mean,
can you imagine on March 10th? It's another AI generated image of Donald Trump as Mario being today we're gonna jump on that. You know what I mean? It's just so weird.
But if it was, it would be a Donald Trump as Luigi, though. That's the extent of
it would be funnier if he was Waluigi or Wario. It would be funnier.
Yeah. What's
Wario,
really interesting? I guess they're trying to. I don't know what are they trying to do? Are they trying to connect with the common folk or something like that? But it makes, and I get what you're saying. It kind of it takes them to a place of okay, they're not as. I don't know. It just seems like they're not serious.
Right. It feels weird. Could you imagine if George W. Bush did something on May the 4th or George W. Bush or Bill Clinton did something on Mario Day or something? It would be so weird. Right.
But
there's a difference.
Maybe they have. And it's just these days you see more of the human side of people.
Well, I think that ultimately it used to be that when you were a fan of something that would come out. Right. Mm-hmm. So if George W. Bush had been a huge fan of Mario, he probably would have tweeted something about Mario Day, right?
Sure.
The problem is now
he would have had to hold a press conference.
Yeah, that's true. But nowadays, it's not about being a fan of something; it's about using it. It's about
hitting the
trend, essentially. Yeah, it's about trying to meme about something to foster this pop culture connection, Yeah,
it's trolling social. It's controlling the social media aspect of and trying to make sure you stay on top. When it comes down to it,
but it comes across as completely disingenuous, and I think we all innately kind of sense this. We all had these same complaints when companies started doing this, right? When companies started jumping on marketing campaigns that clearly they didn't really care about. They were just trying to connect, or quote unquote.
Are you guys ready? When
you think about
it,
too,
and all of the companies becoming, all the rainbow stuff for Pride Month? It's my favorite. It's my favorite.
When you think about it too, back in the day when you were intentionally trying to do something, like you were a huge fan, you had to go out of your way to make that happen. These days with Chat GPT and all that, I mean, anybody can become an instant fan by a snap of a finger and feel whether you're genuine or not. But snap, hey, Chat GPT, do this for me, and then boom, you're there, even if you're not a fan or not.
And I think it's one thing to have some a kid running your Wendy's social media account and trying to meme, and another one to have someone running the White House's social media accounts and trying to meme too.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a distinctive difference between the two.
No, there is. And also, I want to circle back on AI image generation. We're not going to get into the ethics of it, but like also, there's this really interesting phenomenon, I think, in that a lot of images that are getting made and a lot of the trash AI stuff that's getting put out there, it's getting put out there because no one would have drawn it before. You know what I mean?
Right.
If you would have gone to an artist, you would have had a hard time finding an artist to be like, I want you to draw a super ripped Donald Trump flanked by bald eagles on both sides and American flags holding a lightsaber.
A red lightsaber.
You know what I mean? A red lightsaber. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't going to bring that up, but yeah, a red lightsaber. Like you know, it would solve so many problems because the artist would be like, okay, I need some reference images. Yeah, he's holding a red lightsaber, farm. It's so weird. And then he's like, we're the good guys. And I'm like, how? It's not even an anyway. We're not going to get
it's all the empire. That's
it's
not
all about balance.
No, but actually,
the force is all about balance. You have to have the dark and the
red
light.
is the color of the Republican Party. Anyway, but
I know that's why they did it, but still, it's just like okay.
But like in art, like there's just so many more checks and balances, right? Of like the artist would be like, well, what about this? Or I don't think this is going to work, or da da da. And so we've talked about how David and I grew up Christian and farmer as well. And I don't feel weird to say we're all still practicing our faith. And there are these Christian AI generated like video accounts on YouTube. And I kind of hate it. I really hate them. I usually set it up so like to block, like, don't show me stuff like this because like, and they're like, oh, it's like, through the imagery of AI, like trying to make these things come to life. And, I just feel honestly, I'm just like, no artist would have done this. Right. Like, especially with how they end up looking, right? Like, that's why people who weren't going to pay an artist to do it now are like feeling comfortable doing that. And then they want to make something out of it. I get it. But then there's like this thing of like, no actual person of faith would have, like, that's an artist would have drawn this image. Does that make sense? I don't want to make it sound like a person of faith wouldn't try to make something of those things, but like the images that I've seen, I'm just like, this is not like something like a true believer would have made, right?
Yeah, because there's stuff
or like
probably
conceptualized.
Like, I don't know.
I
There's places that you're as a Christian, you're probably like, I wouldn't even go there, or something like that,
Right. And you're like, no, I'm not like, and I personally feel as an artist and a person of faith, if someone approached me with some of those things, I would be like, I'm not comfortable doing that. I don't want to do that. I think that is better left to like, we don't need to make this a visual kind of a deal. That, and so, but then
there's something about leaving it like leaving it to where, you don't need a visual, like you said. Some things just need to be left alone.
Right. Like it sounds weird to say it's better to be left to the imagination, but there are some moments that people I don't want to say shouldn't see, but like, yeah, I don't know. It's weird. And there's this weird thing where AI is, I guess it comes back to checks and balances. And AI will just generate an image for you. If you were to try to connect, you would have to find an artist. And there's like a collaborative process and there's more checks and balances on like, well, I don't know about this, or like, what about this? What about this? Right. To the point. And some people be like, no, Johnny, you just pay an artist and they don't care. You would really need to pay a lot, because like for me as an artist, I've walked away from commissions. I literally had someone tell me like, I'm just trying to help you out. Like I could go find someone cheaper. I just thought I wanted to help you out. And I was like, listen, I don't need your money.
I love that.
Like really, I was like, I don't need your money. Like, no, thank you. I quit. I'm not going to make this for you. Like, people, I mean, listen, clearly they weren't offering me enough money because if it was enough money, I would be like, well, I'll make whatever you want me to.
Yeah. So people want to say they're trying to help you, but when it comes down to it, they're at that moment, it's kind of like they're trying to twist you to do what they want a little bit at that point, because it's not, again, like if they really wanted something so bad, they would have made it. But there's probably a certain level that you'd be like, it wouldn't matter for amount of money, I wouldn't do it.
Right.
There's that threshold too.
Anything under $1 million. obviously.
It's I
That's really my buying point. It's $1 million.
Put a chink on my armor for no less than $1 million plus.
Yeah, no less for sure. So all of that to say, when are we going to make the unofficial International Anav Day? We need to pick a date that's like, oh yeah, this is Anav Day. But you see,
Anav Day. Well, you think about that.
I mean,
August
essentially, it would have to be
A.
like December 6th or whatever, right? Because that's like the founding of Anav was December 6th, I think. Something like that.
But it's not a cool pun like Mario or May the 4th that people are into. It needs to be memorable. It has to be in August because August starts with A.
It's true. Well, April starts with A too.
April also starts with A. That is true. I missed that one.
There you go. We'll just do April Fools.
Yeah. Anav Day is April 1st.
That's actually, I think, I want to say it's kind of funny. Who was founded on April 1st, and they always have a problem with it. It's just it's really funny. Yeah.
Is it kind of funny? Hey, anyway. And I had one more thing I want to talk about that isn't super topical, so we can move on. But I want to say this. It is May 6th for me here in Japan, 2025, the year of our Lord, 2025, and I just watched yesterday Avatar: The Way of Water.
Oh, nice!
And it was a great movie. Have you guys seen that movie?
Yeah,
it was really good. I really liked it.
I still maintain with Avatar, like I did with the first one, that they try to play halfway between a documentary kind of exploration of the world and an actual plot driven thing. And I think actually that if they committed to one or the other, that the movies would actually be way better.
100%. 100%.
That said, I think they're still very good, enjoyable movies as they are.
I commented, I was like, man, we've been watching, when they finally leave and go to the water place, I was like, we've been watching for 40 minutes and they have not watered yet. We have not way of watered, because they have to set up all this stuff.
But once you get in that water phase, you're in the phase
it's really cool
for a while.
Well, I was talking with Chiho while we were watching it and my wife, and I was like, one interesting thing is James Cameron, he includes scenes in movies that are totally unnecessary other than it's just cool for the world,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yes.
What's the purpose of this other than the characters feeling wonder and you're feeling wonder?
Right.
But
that was one of the most fascinating things about doing it in 3D in theater, honestly, was just that. Cool. I mean, you got to do, if it ever comes up again, you got to do that, because that was wow, it was just breathtaking.
Yeah, it was I watched it just at home. It was an experience. I really loved it. I mean, it was a long experience, but
yeah,
it was great. I really loved it. What a great movie, you guys. I know that I'm 5 years late or whatever on it. Maybe not 5, maybe 3 years late, but what a great movie.
Yeah,
also,
a couple years late. Not too bad.
There is something about it that I really love that Disney is dropping the ball on, and Avatar did it. Great. I don't so I've watched Moana 2 a ton. We're watching it a lot in the house. I watched Inside Out 2 a ton. Frozen 2, I've seen it a lot. I don't like that the title is Frozen 2, Moana 2, Inside Out 2. The movies the sequels are so good.
That's such a Disney thing to do, though, Yeah,
it is. But if you think about the ones from when we were kids, Little Mermaid 2 doesn't hold a candle to the Little Mermaid, right? It was a direct to DVD release.
Sure.
Cinderella 2, the same deal. But these movies are so good.
Aladdin and 2, Return of Jafar didn't even have Robin Williams.
They were all straight to DVD, straight to home video kind of stuff. These other movies, I almost feel bad because I really love Moana 2. I wish it was Moana, it's not.
It should have been
The Empire Strikes Back, right?
Story.
It wasn't Star Wars 2. Yeah. It was The Empire Strikes Back. Right, or the Attack of the Clones.
I mean, they're all numbered, but at least they have another name.
Right, they have a title. Right, there's a title to the movie, and so Avatar 2, everyone calls it Avatar 2, but it is Avatar: The Way of Water. Right, and that is a great title, especially for one of those things of the title explains the movie a little bit. right? There is something to that.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to have something that kind of, like, when you read it, like, signifies what it is just a little bit, just like in a small title that can like almost speak to what you're gonna watch. I mean, I love whenever I'm titling something, like something that speaks to me, and that's really cool. But when you have, like you say, just like a sequence, it doesn't do anything else than what you already know. It doesn't speak to anything new. It just speaks, okay, this was, Frozen. We know what Frozen is, but what's Frozen 2? It doesn't have any definition to it.
And while they are a continuation of the story, all of those sequels, Frozen 2, Inside Out 2, and Moana 2, I would say, deserve to be recognized for more than just a sequel. You know what I mean? It's not just like they expanded on, and it was so good, right? Like, could you imagine? I know that they're all numbered, but could you imagine like it not being The Empire Strikes Back? Right?
Well, yeah.
Or the Two Towers. If it was just Star Wars 2, right? Or even Lord of the Rings 2. Well, no, it's not Lord of the Rings 2. It's the Two Towers.
Wouldn't that have been confusing and being like Star Wars? It's actually Star Wars 4, no name. Star Wars 5, no name. It's like, well,
yeah. Star Wars 6, and then Star Wars 1, 2, and 3.
Why are we just talking 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, like
what's different from like how it used to be like like Lion King 2. It's like, okay, well, yeah, this is just kind of additive or whatever, and like can't really survive on its own. Like, okay, I get like why this is called this, but like when the movie is actually like significantly like its own thing, I feel like
or if not better,
like
sometimes even better than the original.
Yeah.
Like it feel like. The one I think of is the Hunger Games, right? The first one is the Hunger Games. It's not Hunger Games 2, right? It was Catching Fire, right? And then Mockingjay. It wasn't Hunger Games 3. And the same with like the Harry Potter movies and all of those things. And maybe those are adapted from books. So like books aren't just like, Mistborn 1, Mistborn 2, Mistborn 3. They tend to have titles. Anyway.
Yep, because books usually are, by and large, way more defined, when it comes down to it. There's more definition in what they are. And the author is kind of the, going to be the one to kind of placehold that, because there are books out there and they're confusing as all get out. But when you have a title, I mean, something that pulls you into it. And I was just thinking another movie. The Sonic movies are just 1, 2, and 3, which I really enjoy. I don't know if you guys watched them, but
I love the movie. I haven't seen the third one. But the first two are great.
Yeah,
no, I've only seen the first two, but they're great. Yeah.
Again, they're Sonic 1, Sonic 2, Sonic 3, and that's kind of like very Sonic-esque because that's I'm sure that's why they did it, because they're falling off the titles. But I'm curious if like Halo, let's say Halo didn't start getting titled to like Halo 5, so maybe if they get that far, maybe they'll start changing up, because I know Sonic as a series eventually started doing that eventually.
Well, and I understand like why it sounds so funny, because it costs money to come up with a good title, right? Like they come up with lots of titles and then they workshop them probably and have focus groups and figure out what title they end up going with, and then they have to figure out what title it's going to be in each country. Japan very famously. Yes. They all have different titles. Like Frozen in Japan is actually titled Anna and the Snow Queen in Japanese. And like Tangled is like Rapunzel and like the Tower and stuff like that. Like they have a different title. So there is all of that to think about.
That's crazy. Things you don't even think about.
And I understand that like if everyone's just going to call it Moana 2 anyway, why not just call it Moana 2? You know what I mean? Like colloquial, like I was calling it Avatar 2 for forever, and I will still call it just Avatar 2, not Avatar Way of Water.
So wait, you're part of the problem.
Well, now that I've seen the movie, I joked around about it a lot, because technically there is no Avatar 2, it's Avatar Way of Water. Like there's no 2 in the title or anything like that. But now that I've seen it, I don't know, maybe I will say Avatar Way of Water. I really liked it, man. Hey, dude, the Way of Water, bro. It's like all around you and inside you, and it's not the Force, but it sounds like it. Yeah. And it's like life and death, and it binds us and penetrates us and brings us all together.
As a fan of any series, it's really hard to get people away from the whole numbering thing. It really is, because people are like, is this number 6? Is this number whatever?
Ask
And they're like,
Microsoft
it's not
with the
It's not.
Xboxes.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Ask Microsoft how hard it is to get away from those numbers, dude.
They do, and then they immediately get blasted for it, So I mean, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and talking about getting lambasted, Farm, did you see the Xbox price hikes?
Oh yeah, I heard games are going up to $80 or something like that.
Well, no,
Xbox
and hardware
first-party
too.
games are going up $80, and all the hardware is going up by around 100, give or take, depending on what it is. But the consoles
they're
specifically are going up 100.
taking
Before we get in on it,
like Nintendo,
I do want to say, before we get in on it, I
money.
do want to say it makes Xbox Game Pass Ultimate a better value.
It does. Maybe that's the whole point.
Very true.
It's like, you know what? Our marketing teams decided we're actually going to try to start making money like Nintendo on our consoles.
Yeah. But do you want to get into it?
I mean, this is what tariffs do. I mean, there's not really a more simple way to put it than hey, when everything gets expensive, things get more expensive.
It's interesting to note that Xbox did raise prices outside of the US market, and that this is just hitting already, and that this is hitting the US market. And one of the things David and I talked about a little bit before stream was, PlayStation has already raised prices from their original launch price, right? They went up. And, with the Switch, the cost of the Switch 2, not, there's no cool title for that one. The cost of the Switch 2 and,
Switch
games
is
and
the cool
such.
title, that's why.
I know nobody wants to hear this is the world we live in and things are just expensive, but it's hard. There is some truth to it, right? There is some to that. But yeah, I mean, it makes me happy that I bought my Xboxes when I did,
Yeah.
Buying a new console now is kind of expensive.
It's obviously not a great optical move, but when it comes down to it, when you build in other countries and stuff, and when you get parts from other countries and stuff, your prices are going to rise when your country starts taxing every single import. And to expect them to have to eat that cost is just unrealistic and stupid. Not
just that, but also let's go around here, because this is capitalism too. If everyone else is raising their prices, and you're behind on sales and you're not selling already with a lower price, why not raise your prices? You know what I mean? That's how the market works.
Yeah.
That's how the market works. If everyone else's prices are up, then you go to match that price.
Well, that's the crazy thing too, is if everything changed to local production, guess what? Prices would still be higher. That's the problem, is that's why most people don't necessarily always build domestically their entire companies. This is why they outsource with parts and production and all of that, because it's cheaper in other countries. So that way they can keep the costs overall lower for their consumers.
There's even actually a scenario. I actually have it. There's a guy who I know who actually goes to church with us. His son does this game called Moonrakers, and I think I've mentioned it before. But they got the printing done, outside of the U.S., and the only reason they didn't use somebody inside the U.S. because it was better. It was better quality, and it was cheaper. And they really wanted to have people in here in the U.S., locally in the state, to do it. Yeah. But the quality wasn't there. And so that's another thing you have to kind of tackle when you're thinking about these things. It's not just always about cheaper or the logistics of it. It's actually about quality at some point. And some places do it better. And some places around here have lost the know-how of working. Let's put it like that.
Yeah, the technical. Not just that, but technical skill. It takes technical skill to do something well. You know what I mean? And this happened. So I can, for people who may be feeling the tense political undertones to this, I don't know if you guys remember way back in the early 20-aughts, I would say maybe early 20-teens. Do you guys remember the trash can Mac Pro? There was a Mac Pro that they designed that was circular and it looked like a trash can. Anyway, I've been an
Oh
Apple
yes, I
person for
remember that.
forever.
I still want one.
Yeah, they're funny, right? And like it was circular. It looked like a trash can. They were building them in the U.S. It was one of those things that they could say, "Oh, these are all built in the U.S." And they had such problems getting it up to the quality and keeping up with demand. And it was really interesting. And I was pretty young at the time. You know, I was an early teenager, or not an early. I was a teenager, but it was interesting to see, like, oh wow, like they made this whole thing to build it in America. It's an American-made computer, and like American workers can't keep up with demand, and they're shipping out with issues, right? Like they're shipping out with like issues, and they got to send them back. And
Well, you know,
'cause
union,
they
you
had
have to
this,
take their
and
breaks.
exactly. Well, it's just one of those things that like it was like, oh wow, like it's a hard discussion to have because it's not for everything, but it is a factor to talk about, not just meeting demand, but then also having the, I don't know, the skills to mass produce and make something like that is hard. And if you're not set up for it, you're not set up for it. You know, it takes a lot to get that going. But it is a bummer that the Xbox prices are going up. I would agree with that. I guess for me as an adult, not to throw too much shade at young people, Xbox prices going up aren't really as much on my radar as like all these other prices that are also rising, right? It makes sense to me. Like looking out there and seeing everything rising, I'm like, yeah, that makes sense.
Thankfully, we've already invested stock. You know, we're stock shareholders,
and it doesn't change that it sucks.
At our house. No, it
doesn't change that it sucks. But it's like one of those things that I'm like, you know, when I have to pay to move out of a house and I have to pay to cover costs, and I moved out of an apartment 4 years ago, and the cost for the same repair is like more than 2 times more expensive just because materials are more than 2 times. You know what I mean? Like,
right. Well,
more expensive
it's like
than
when
they were.
You go to the grocery store anymore.
It just is.
That $50 doesn't quite cover. It's now $150 or
oh my God.
You know, it's like
gas in Japan is so expensive right now. It's brutal.
Yeah,
it's brutal.
It's
well,
rough.
And in that I say, because I'm saying like, oh, it's the way it is. You know, Again, it sucks, but like the example I gave of like the construction stuff. So who am I supposed to be mad at here? Am I mad at the construction company that they're charging me more when it costs more and they need to make money too? You know, where along the line, somebody is not making money here, or somebody is making money, right? It's costing more. Someone's making money somewhere here. And I'm just paying it.
Well, it's kind of, so I come from the construction aspect, and it's kind of like ebb and flow, like even with that, because it's like, well, you got to find your way of being competitive, getting the jobs and not losing. So it's kind of like this all balancing act as well, because it's not like even people in the construction side who are charging you are trying to make bank either. They're just trying to stay alive too, you know, try to hit that middle ground, because it's rough for everyone when it comes down to it.
But it's like almost $100 more that the Xbox is tacking on.
Yeah, which is a pretty big increase, but again, it makes sense in terms of that. Like a 20% increase when like a lot of stuff comes through China nowadays and everything electronically, and like, I mean, like, yeah, it's rough.
I'm not sure what the prices are in Japan, but I will say for Japan, when the PS5 Pro increased in price, it went up like the local equivalent, like not like the actual equivalent of $200 because the yen is weak, but like to a Japanese person making Japanese money, it went up like $200, not 100. I want to throw that out there. Wow. So like, again, like stuff in Japan is expensive. It's an island country. I get it. But like, it still didn't hit me quite. It was a lot, but like to see the PS5 Pro jump up like the local equivalent of $200, it's pretty brutal. Yeah, right. Especially they made like that, like it's a Japanese company, right?
Yeah, like, that's the kicker right there.
But I don't think they make them here.
It's just rough to see like Xbox like collecting all these optical like losses essentially, because I mean they also announced the game increase of price, but that's really just kind of following Nintendo. Like, I mean, that's not necessarily, that's like this is going to happen. We might as well do this now at the same time kind of thing, which.
And I guarantee you PlayStation's going to do it, and it's going to be crickets because they were the last ones to do it, right? So PlayStation is going to just silently raise their prices, and everyone's just going to deal. But Nintendo and Microsoft were the ones who made announcements about it, and people are are losing their minds.
Who cared when I think PlayStation Plus raised their price I think 2 weeks ago, something like that, and no one noticed or no one seemed to really care, and it's just oh well, I mean yeah, I don't know. The whole bias thing kind of annoys me. It's just a little bit frustrating because the second the Game Pass rises in price, everyone writes those articles. I mean,
everyone.
It always see PlayStation fans are really good about screaming about Xbox things, but also really good about sweeping their stuff under the rug. But
also with Xbox in a distant third place still, why do you care so much? I mean, just
with any competition, you want to see the underdog be dug into the grave, and just that's
it's weird though because you want to see it, but then you don't want that too because then you're then with no competition, there's just stagnation.
Right, and there's no place to no outlet for your negative feelings on anything either.
But the top dog's always going to push the underdog as far down as they can. That's just how it goes.
But we talked about this with Mario Kart and such. An $80 game, again, yeah, it does suck. And for me to just be get a job seems super out of touch. But again, I paid $60 for games that were way smaller. You know what I mean? These a lot of games are free nowadays, and then even games are so much more than they were.
People,
$80
people
for
have
a game,
access and have way more games than we did growing up. Just want to throw that
out. People need to just deal.
I mean, Xbox has a really good response to this. Not that they've necessarily said it, and I feel like they should lean on it more, is Xbox Game Pass. If they're talking about increasing the price of their first party games, guess what? Every single first party game comes to Xbox Game Pass and on day one for Game Pass Ultimate, I mean,
right. Yeah. And hey, you know what? Pay $20. Is it $20 now? Is it $25?
Something like that. Yeah.
I don't know. $20, $25. Are you really going to be playing that game for more than a month? You could play that. You could have Xbox Game Pass for 4 months, and it would be the cost of the game. And you'll be done playing that game by then, and you could move on to another first party game. You know what I mean? So it is a fantastic savings for sure. It really ups the value of Game Pass, in my opinion.
Especially for single player games, I mean,
that's the thing too. I mean, Johnny, we've talked about this before, but games coming to other platforms doesn't really bother me so long as I still have an avenue to get it on Game Pass and play it on a platform in the ecosystem, right? In the Xbox ecosystem, because then I don't have to buy the game. I'm just already kind of grafted in, which is great.
No, exactly. And, I mean, I just bought some games on Steam, and it's, one of those things of oh, yeah, even though they were on sale, hey, with Game Pass, I still haven't checked out Avowed in those games yet either. But on the flip side with Game Pass, I know that it's a little different for you, D, but maybe it's because I am still buying games, because you bring up often, there are games that you tried that you wouldn't have tried, except that they're on Game Pass. But on the opposite, I have the opposite problem that I am still buying some games, and I feel more pressure to play the games I paid for. Right? And then the games I didn't pay anything for, they just keep falling further and further and further back because new games come out that I do end up paying for.
That false sense of security. I've still got it. I can get to it whenever. It's no pressure, which is a good and bad thing. All the people that are out there, looking for hardware, maybe they're looking for new hardware, but I want to throw this one out there. And now's the time to go get used old hardware and go experience some of the old experiences out there. So get some retro hardware. We've been actually pulling out the 360 lately and going through the old Kinect, old Kinect sports games and adventures and stuff like that, and Fruit Ninja. I know. I mean, it's way back there, the good old days.
It's interesting because, I didn't bring my 360 when I moved to Japan. I gave it to a friend. I had a Final Fantasy 13 360, and it's one of the things I kind of regret, to be honest with you. I don't find myself regretting getting rid of like my Xbox Ones and such because, I feel like it's just been a continuation, right? Like Xbox One, Xbox
really
One
has.
X,
They've done a good job
Xbox Series. Like it feels just like a continuation. But the 360, I kind of miss it. Yeah, not miss it, but like I kind of wish I hadn't gotten rid of it.
The one that I regret is the N64. And I got rid of that, and it was kind of a choice that like to progress in the console realm because it was like, okay, I had to get rid of this. It was when I was still living at home, so the option was keep this or get rid of this and get a 360. And so I had to play Halo 3, so I sold.
Well, you made the right choice. You made the right choice.
I know I did, but still, it kind of hurts that I don't have that vintage N64 with all the cartridges that I had, because I had like a good 15 of the solid ones, like the good ones. Legend of Zelda, all the Marios, all that kind of thing. And so it still hurts every once in a while, but maybe one of these days I'll break down and go search eBay and find a good copy, get another.
I've been playing Final Fantasy VI on my Steam Deck, and I've been loving it. The Pixel Remaster. Farm, the game, it runs so well on the Steam Deck, the fan doesn't even kick on. I've got like 12 hours of battery life playing that game. So also, if you want something compact like that, you guys, getting a Steam Deck or something like that, like it's really great for backlog games. I mean, that being said, God, I don't have the money for it right now. And like, it's all of the fighting to get one, but like, is the Switch 2 going to be the next the best handheld, with how it looks?
There's a lot of contenders out there now,
there's a lot of contenders, but it's got the first party Nintendo games, and if it's got the power to play current gen games, it's going to have something that none of them do, right? It's going to have the first party Nintendo games on there. Did you guys see on the new Switch? I'm just thinking about this because I just recently plugged in my Switch 1. There are 2 USB-C ports. There's one on the top and the bottom.
Interesting.
So you can plug it into the dock the normal way, but if you want to plug something in, you can just plug it in on the top, like super easy. Yeah, I don't know. I wonder about it. I know we've spent a lot of time speculating on like the Microsoft handheld, and I am still super interested in that, but I don't know.
There's one thing about the next Switch that I hope they beef up a little bit. It's that kickstand in the back. I don't know if you guys
they did
thought about this.
They did.
They significantly did.
Goodness.
Yes.
Thank goodness, because that thing is weak, and my kids pretty much broke mine.
Oh yeah, no, my son broke his, and I took mine off. That is like fine, and put it on his Switch, and now I have the crappy one.
Right,
it's great. I love it. It's the best. Yeah, having a crappy
every time
kickstand.
I kick it up, I have to place it just so with not too much pressure. It'll work as long as I don't push it down too hard. If not, it'll just pop out because they keep they popped it out so many times it's just like worn out. So I always thought it was really flimsy. So that's good. I'm glad to hear that they're actually beefing that up a little bit.
Yeah. But do you guys want to cover anything else before we wrap up?
I mean, like, if not to like continue to praise Xbox or whatever, but like if you don't have older consoles, Xbox is really good about like backcompat stuff and everything like that. And also remasters, like they just announced today, or I guess it leaked today. I'm not sure. But like, no, I think they formally announced that Gears of War Reloaded, yet another remaster of Gears 1, will be coming to all consoles in August, or at least
all consoles.
PlayStation. Well, it's interesting what they say. Like PlayStation 4, 5, Xbox like One, Xbox Series, PC, and something called Xbox PC, which I don't. Who knows what that is? But yeah. So that's this just kind of goes even further to my theory that like the whole Xbox like Gears of War prequel is an attempt to inundate like PlayStation players to the fact that Gears is a thing. You know?
Yeah,
yeah, it's gotta be.
That's
Yeah.
a really big pull to the market. I think that's what they're trying to do, like reestablish
So,
the brand for this current generation.
When Gears of War E-Day or whatever, the prequel, like comes out, I think that'll probably be if not day and date, probably pretty close, probably like 3 months or so before it hits other consoles, if it's not day and date. This remaster is kind of exciting because like Gears of War is a great game, and more people getting to play that is fantastic. I think it's kind of a little bit crazy that Gears of War has gotten almost as many remasters at this point as Skyrim, it seems like. But I mean, like, you know.
I find it weird because Gears of War, sure, it's a great game, but I don't think it's the kind of game that, like, you would need that many remasters. You know what I mean? Like, it is pretty wild.
Yeah, but I think this is primarily to get it on PlayStation, I think.
The Oblivion remaster just came out, and I hear people like it. I haven't played it myself.
I haven't played it yet either, but like I hear a lot of people like it. I hear it like maybe possibly stole a little bit of thunder from Avowed and Expedition 33 in the way that it was shadow dropped, but like apparently both those games both did really well too. So I mean, I
haven't tried either of them, though. I mean to.
And then Marathon is yet again finding more obstacles in its way as they continue to not send out additional codes, or they claim they did, but it must have been a very select. I didn't get an additional code. Let's just say that, okay. Which was unfortunate because I kind of wanted to try that out. But also there was another extraction shooter that also went into alpha. It's crazy that all these games are like doing alphas just because it's like, okay, like that's like really early in development. Like I get soliciting feedback, but public alphas are just not usually a good way to show off things, you know? So much can change between that and production. That's the whole point of it being an alpha. Like, I mean, as much as like I said, like it's weird that like Bungie is like publicizing their alpha, but then also making it an NDA or whatever, and then they removed the NDA. Like, I feel like if they had done a private alpha and just not announced anything till beta, I think I would have been more okay with that strategy. But Marathon just didn't seem to grip anyone necessarily. Like people enjoyed it, but like, you know, was the kind of takeaway from it. We'll see, you know, was another pretty big takeaway apparently from people who got to play it, which again, select few. This game called Arc Raiders is also an extraction shooter. Like literally took the internet by storm.
Wasn't Tuna streaming that yesterday? Or like recently?
Yeah, I think he was doing that a couple days ago. Arc Raiders, yeah.
He might have, yeah. Arc Raiders seems to be like really, really, really polished, really good, really phenomenal in terms of like different like things that can happen or whatever. And it's in an extraction shooter space, and it comes out at a similar time. So we'll see how
lots of competition out there.
Bungie fares. Yeah, they've got their like new like everything upcoming in the world of Destiny thing tomorrow at like I think. That would be what, May 6th? Yeah, May 6th.
Okay, also I want to throw out there Bungie Day is also not a real holiday. 7/7, it's not a real holiday. We don't need to talk about it. We don't need to celebrate it. All right. Yeah. But Anav Day, whatever that is,
will be.
That is a real holiday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real holiday.
And it will be a bank holiday.
5% off. 5% off on the Anav store.
And you don't I think
it needs to be November. Day. I think it needs to be November 7th, honestly.
Why?
Because 117.
Oh.
We start with Halo, man. 117. There you go. That's it. Or it could be January 117. So either way we slice it, you know.
I know. We'll have news on that to come.
Yes, we will decide it, and we will make our own fake holiday that you can make people feel bad about that they're not celebrating. All right, well, that's it, guys. You know what to do. Make sure to like and subscribe and do all those things, and we'll see you guys later. Bye.
to hear Craig.